All right, hello and welcome to the University of Illinois Chicago live webinar for the online measurement, evaluation, and statistics and assessment program here at UIC College of Education. My name is Curtis Adams. I'm the enrollment specialist for the program, along with Dana Hopkins, and I'll serve as the moderator for today's webinar event. So I want to thank you all again for joining us today. A few housekeeping items before we begin today's presentation. Please keep your mics muted during the presentation. We'll have a chat box available for you to enter questions. We recommend closing other browsers or applications during the presentation to prevent the webinar from running slow or freezing. We'll be recording today's sessions, so feel free to take notes if you like, but please know we'll be sending this recording out of the full presentation to each participant. That way, again, you can share with other colleagues or friends that are interested in the program. Now, if you have any questions that come to mind during today's presentation, you can type it in the chat box and we'll address it along with any other questions during the Q&A session for the final 15 to 20 minutes of our scheduled time. Now I'd like to formally introduce the agenda for today's presentation. We're gonna have, overall, we're gonna have a program overview with Everett Smith, Program Director for the online MEd and MESA and ERM certificate program. We'll have alumni experience with John Paul Cruz and a financial aid overview with Financial Aid Assistant Director Bianca Sanchez.
Can you hold on a second there, Curtis? It seems like it's on auto advance. I don't know if you can fix it so we can just do it manually.
Well, no, that was with, it should be fine now.
Okay.
If you got it, yeah.
Okay.
All right, yeah, because I was clicking at the same time. So I apologize. And then at the end, we'll open it up for Q&A for those who might have questions. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn the session over to Dr. Smith, and everyone enjoy the presentation.
Thanks, Curtis. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking some time out to hear a little bit about the MESA MEd and certificate programs. I guess to begin with, I study here at UIC. We're a nationally ranked D1 university level program, and we combine it with the convenience of online learning. And because the program is fully online, you can continue to meet work and family commitments. In fact, most of our students earn their degrees while working full time. We started the online MESA program, I think it's close to about 12 years ago. So the online format is not something new for us due to COVID or any other external circumstances. So we've been going at this for quite a long time. And in fact, when we first decided to launch the online, because we had a campus master's and a campus PhD program, we were charged with putting the master's program online. And prior to doing that, we actually did an environmental scan of the entire globe. And we found out there wasn't any fully online master's or graduate program in MESA anywhere. So we were actually the first to market. Again, that was close to about a dozen years ago. But since that time, and hopefully everybody's doing their own due diligence, but since that time, maybe 5 or 6 other universities have also launched online master's programs. And part of what Curtis's group does is, like every other year, they'll redo the environmental scan, send me the curriculum of quote unquote competitors, and then I review what's going on with the state of other graduate programs. So do your own due diligence, but in my review of their curriculums, everybody offers the same intro courses: intro research design, intro program evaluation, intro stats. A few offer the intermediate courses, but thus far we're still the only program that I'm aware of that we've found that offer the higher end courses. By the higher end courses, I'm talking things like large scale testing, hierarchical linear modeling, structural equation modeling, and I think I mentioned already large scale testing. So, I mean, again, do your own due diligence and hopefully you'll reach the same conclusion that I have in reviewing some of the other universities' curriculums. Continuing on with my study MESA at UIC, the relevance, the coursework is taught by UIC faculty and professionals working full-time in MESA related areas. We try to minimize the use of adjuncts actually, because we find if a course has a faculty home, the faculty members are more likely to keep it up to date than adjuncts. So we actually only use one adjunct, and that's one of my former doc students. And she loves teaching, so she keeps her course up to date on an annual basis, which is good to see. We strive for an effective balance between theoretical and applied coursework. If I had to put percentages on it, I'd say it's probably like 90% applied, 10% theoretical, because it's a master's program. You're really trying to learn how to use the tools. If you go on for a doctorate, you'll get a little bit more into the theoretical aspects of a lot of the stuff that you would learn at a master's level. And we try to give you in-depth experience with major computer programs for statistical analysis and measurement construction. It'll vary obviously course to course and faculty member to faculty member, but some sampling of software packages and measurement packages that we use are SPSS, SAS, HLM, I think Bilog MG, I think ParScale in the past, WinSteps, Conquest, a little bit of R, but again, it'll vary on course to course. You'll benefit from an impressive depth of course offerings. I've already alluded to that a little bit, especially in psychometrics, and I think we should probably add in statistics as well. We're one of the few institutions in the country that offers coursework in all 4 major paradigms in psychometrics, and that's item response theory, Roche measurement, generalizability theory, and classical test theory. Again, in doing your own due diligence, you'll find everybody teaches classical test theory. Very few people will give you even an introduction to generalizability theory. We're fortunate in that one of our faculty members, Dr. Yu Yin, hails out of Stanford University, where she learned G theory under Richard Shavelson, who's probably one of the top 1 or 2 people in the world regarding G theory. So she gives an introduction to G theory in her educational measurement course. And we're one of the few places that will actually teach you the 2 dominant paradigms for high stakes testing, whether that's educational testing or licensure certification. That's item response theory and Roche measurement. We're one of the few because these 2 paradigms are completely incompatible with each other. And so whoever's running a measurement program, if they happen to be an IRT person, they have a bias to only teach IRT, and likewise for the Roche folks. When I was a grad student many years ago, I started out as an IRT person, switched over to Roche at the end of my graduate studies. But when I formed the first graduate program, the PhD program here at UIC, I swore our students would learn both. And then you make up your own mind as to which paradigm fits more in line with your philosophy of measurement. And I think it's better that way because you make your own decisions instead of being taught what the faculty members believe in. But it also benefits you when you get out on the job market, because if you start looking at the job ads in the areas of psychometrics and testing, half the folks want IRT skills, half the folks want Roche skills. So it's best to learn both. And if you're not wedded to one paradigm or another, that it kind of increases your job prospects when you graduate. And I should probably note that this Roche versus IRT thing is largely an academic thing. And it's largely a United States thing. If you're outside the United States, anywhere in Europe, Russia, Australia, most of South America, they're all Roche folks. I'm a Roche folk, so I kind of agree with all the rest of the world. But here in the United States, we still have the debate between Roche and IRT. Flexibility, the projects and coursework, to the degree that we can, are tailored to your career goals and interests. We all, of course, use a common set of assignments and exams or papers, so we can make apples to apples comparisons when doing grading for grading purposes. But I know, for example, in my my Roche rating scale course, I have a common set of assignments each week, but each week you can apply those same skills to your own data and get feedback on that. I know in like the program evaluation courses and the research design course, you can also bring in whatever you may happen to be working on or want to work on for your own research, and bring those into the projects and papers in those courses as well. I think one of the neat things about online learning is you can access your coursework anytime, day, night, weekends, or weekdays. I think the #1 characteristic of successful people in the program is setting time aside. So having some discipline to say, I have to log on at least once a day to check out what's going on in my course. If there's any updates to the homework, the assignments, the discussion boards. It's not like we have a set day and time, everything's asynchronous. So you'll have weekly assignments, and it's just up to you to find and be disciplined enough to find time during your week to complete those weekly assignments. Most of our courses have these weekly kind of formative assessments just to try to keep students engaged. So you're not waiting for 5-10 weeks and then logging in to try to catch up. So we try to keep people engaged by having weekly assignments. We also try to stagger if you're taking more than one course, we try to stagger the start and end dates during the week. So for example, the 2 courses I typically teach, I'll have one start on a Wednesday, end on a Tuesday, and another start on a Tuesday and end on a Monday. That way you don't have everything due like Monday morning and your whole weekend is shot just doing work. So we kind of try to spread those out over the week to the degree that faculty can. The core MESA faculty, we possess a broad range of experiences and expertise to address virtually every aspect of the available job markets. Obviously, we're all in academia now, but we've worked for research hospitals, we've worked for testing companies, worked with state departments of education. Most of us have done consulting with pretty much every type of organization you could think of, from program evaluation firms, think tanks, state departments, federal positions. I mean, so if you're interested in a field, one of us usually will know the best path or best series of courses to help you get to your goal. And if one of us doesn't, we'll track down someone who does. But so far, knock on wood, these past 12 years, we've been able to cover everybody. Expertise obviously include the MESA, so program evaluation, assessment, psychometrics or measurement and statistics, with research and theoretical and applied aspects in these fields. If people want to know a little bit more about the MESA faculty, you can visit the College of Education website, and then under educational psychology, you'll see 2 strands, and one is the MESA folks and the other is the human development and learning folks. Just go to the MESA folks and you can see kind of what we're up to, recent books, publications, grants, and such, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about our backgrounds. Usually the main reason folks want to go into these MESA related areas is either upward mobility within a current job or seeking out other opportunities. So we try to give you rigorous, immediately applicable training and quantitative and qualitative methods for educational, healthcare, and social science research settings. I would encourage folks, if you have some time, you visit ncme.org, so National Council on Measurement and Education.org. Every 6-7 years or so, they do a survey of everything from academia, private and public sectors, state and federal agencies, finding out, do you have enough people to fill your job openings for methodological work? And the answer always comes back the same: they don't. That's one reason why MESA folks are always in fairly high demand. The grads simply get hired, and if you have the ability to move, it's even much easier to get positions in the MESA related areas. On the next slide, we maintain a MESA mailing list, a listserv, so kind of old tech there, but still a listserv. It has all of our PhD, master's, and certificate students, either past or current, dating back to '98 when I first started the PhD program. And I shot out an email a while back, and I only gave like a day or 2 to respond, saying, hey, where are you folks working now? And this is just a partial list because I know many of my students and where they work, and they didn't respond in time, so I didn't put where they work on here. But you can see that it varies across a lot of different organizations where our students can get employment. Down below are some jobs talks, and these are where I've invited former students and colleagues in the MESA related areas to come in and just do kind of an informal Q&A. And it's basically who they are, where they work, how they got into their position, and what you as a graduate student can do to prepare for entry-level positions in their fields. And it covers the gamut. It covers healthcare, it covers licensure certification, institutional research, academia, because MESA skills are not, even though we're in the Department of Ed Psych, the quantitative skills are kind of universal. And this is not unique to UIC. Anywhere you find a MESA program or MESA type program, it's typically going to be in an Ed Psych department or a quantitative psych department. And it's usually those organizations or departments where everybody goes from around the university to get their quant and methodological skills. And then they go back to their home departments to kind of be the go-to research person for their own units. But down below, those first two recordings, this is before we started partnering with Curtis's group. So they were done on my home camcorder. So not professionally done. So I probably wouldn't start with those. I'd start with a 2018 one where Curtis's group actually brought in professional lighting, professional recording equipment. They professionally edited it, and they actually, to their credit, they won an award for putting out this and editing this video. So start with the 2018 one. It's about an hour and a half, but if you want to see the broad range of where you can work and how some of these people got into their fields, I think it's well worth the listen. More recently, I sent out another email saying, okay, what are your job titles? And so I gave about a day or day and a half for folks to respond. And this is just again, a partial list of job titles, but I thought it might be useful to include. So for example, if you're interested in a particular field, but don't know the keywords to do a job search, you can use some of these keywords in searching whatever job boards that you may want to look at, whether they're local or national job boards. With that, I'd like to bring in a recent graduate of ours, JP. JP, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yep, thanks, JP. We do these webinars about once a month, so we try to mix up bringing in former and current students as well as other faculty members to kind of share their experiences. So again, thank you, JP, for joining us. I guess to start off, can you please tell us about yourself a little bit and your current job?
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jean Paul. JP is fine. I am a longtime resident of Chicago, born and raised here in Humboldt Park. And I graduated from Loyola University in 2015 with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. And I started the MESA certificate program in 2019, transitioned over to the MED program in 2020, and just graduated last month. So fairly fresh out of the program. And currently I am working at Midwestern University Medical School out in Downers Grove. And my official title is Institutional Research and Educational Assessment Analyst. So basically what my department is in charge of is any type of survey or assessment university-wide. So HR surveys, alumni surveys, exit surveys, campus facility surveys, and things like that. And we design the surveys, analyze them, and disseminate that information too.
Yeah, and thanks, JP. Touch on a few things that you said that triggered some other thoughts in my mind. I think one of the reasons the job market is so open for MESA folks is there's nothing like a MESA program at an undergrad level. It sounds like what you did, JP, is probably about the closest you can get, either that or a bachelor's of science and statistics. But if you start looking at the job ads, I think maybe I try to look about every Sunday and then post some interesting ones to our mailing group. But I think maybe 1 out of 50, 1 out of 60 say a bachelor's is sufficient. Everybody else, it's a master's for entry level. And if you want to get into like leadership positions, eventually some people have to go on for a PhD. But over the past 5-6 years, I've seen more folks say for the leadership positions could be masters plus a lot of experience. And I think, again, that's an indicator of how hard it is to find people to fill these jobs. And the other thing, given JP's position in IR, institutional research, I probably see more IR jobs than I do any other type of position when scanning the job boards myself. And I think that's simply because everything from a community college all the way up to D1 universities have these offices. And obviously, the larger the institution, you're going to have more people like JP in these offices. So there's an awful lot of positions available in IR throughout the country. So JP, how did you become interested in the MESA field here?
So I actually didn't know that I was interested in this until like my junior year of undergrad. I took a test in measurement, and that kind of opened up a whole, new world of psychology for me. I never realized that that was considered psych. I thought it was mostly more of the applied clinical stuff. So that kind of is what, sparked that interest. And then just kind of exploring on my own. Like I said, started with the certificate program just to kind of test the waters a little bit, and it was a great match. So I just decided to go from there.
Yeah, and JP's experience and progression through our program, I think, is fairly common. Some people that start in the ERM, the certificate program, start because they're a little bit either hesitant about online learning, or they're not sure that MESA is going to be a match for them. So they'll start in the certificate program, find out that asynchronous online learning isn't so bad, and/or MESA is a good fit, and then, like JP, progress on to the master's program. So can you tell me anything about some of the coursework or the program overall and how it's benefited you in your career and job prospects in your current position?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the stuff, beginning classes, intro to stats, research methods, a lot of that was review for me because of just grad degree. But it was good to kind of have that a little bit more in-depth review of those introductory classes. But definitely the exposure to, like you were referring to, the higher up classes, HLM. I just took that, which is great. And just getting exposure to some of the more advanced statistical techniques. Really appreciated that. And the most obvious way, I mean, aside from the degree itself, is my boss is actually a graduate of the certificate program, but I didn't know that until I applied for the position. So small world, small circle, but it kind of just worked out that way. Oh, and she went to Loyola too. So it was
did really she encourage you for the master's program? Is that how it worked out?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Did your boss encourage you into the certificate or the graduate program?
No. I just started here last month, so I literally graduated and started right at the same time.
Okay, well, that is a small world then. And JP mentioned he came in with some background already. We assume people come in with no background. So like JP said, his first few courses were kind of a review of the material that he had from his prior education. We don't make any such assumptions because I'd probably say about half of the folks coming in are career changers. So they come in with no research design course, no intro stat course. So we really try to take from a ground up perspective. Now JP, since he came in with kind of both those skill sets, he could have waived those courses, or some people take them as refreshers like JP did. That's kind of, I typically defer to the student. If they want a refresher course, I'm fine with it. If they want to waive out after seeing the syllabus, and I'm fine with that as well. JP, I think this is the last one. What kind of advice do you have for anybody considering either the certificate or the MEd, since you were went through both of those?
Definitely take advantage of the flexibility of the program. So like I started in summertime, I took one class just to see if I had it in me to come back to school after 7 years off, I think it was. But then also, like, I was working full time. So if you have a project coming up or whatever, maybe just take one course that semester instead of two, or just really take advantage of the flexibility. And also don't be afraid to ask for help or advice, especially on course progression and career planning. One that I have ever reached out to has been very helpful with that.
Oh, that's good to hear. And I think JP's advice is well grounded as well, depending on, again, how much time that you have to dedicate to it. I think the university gives you 8 years to finish. Most students don't. And then you can actually petition for extensions after that. So most of our students take 1 or 2 courses max per semester, and one course maybe in the summer maximum, simply because, and if folks are interested, I've asked former students, hey, on average, how much time do you spend? And of course, it's a wide range how many hours per course that they spend depending upon the student that you happen to ask. But it's varied anywhere between like 5-6 hours all the way up to 10-12 hours per course. So it really depends on how often, your own learning style, basically. If I had to go through this program, I'd probably be more on the 5-6 hour side because I have a tendency to work fast and go through things and don't double check most of my stuff. Other people like to double and triple check things, so they might take more time. But that should give you a general idea of the range of hours per course. Thanks, JP.
Thank you.
For the financial aid, our local resident, Bianca, wasn't able to make it tonight, so she had this recording to share with you all, so I'm just going to play this.
Hi, everyone. Next slide. So financial aid. This is for degree-seeking students. They are eligible for financial aid. If you're interested in financial aid, just make sure you complete your FAFSA in order to begin your application process. Non-degree certificate students can apply for private loans called alternative loans. Unfortunately, you will not be eligible for a FAFSA if you are a non-degree seeking student. The military veterans may be eligible for veteran benefits such as IVG or the Illinois National Guard. The financial programs available at UIC would be the Stafford loan, such as the unsubsidized loan and the Graduate Plus loan. Next. So in order for degree seeking students, if you're interested in financial aid, as I said, you have to complete a FAFSA. Just go to FAFSA.ed.gov in order to be considered for aid. FAFSA is available October 1st of each year. So if you're entering 22-23, the FAFSA application is available right now. Make sure you include our school code, which is 001776. Once we receive your FAFSA application, we'll email you if we need additional documentation from you. If we do, we ask for you to submit that in as soon as possible because it can take up to 4 to 6 weeks, depending how busy your office is. If we don't need additional documentation, if you've been accepted, then you would receive an award letter, which typically it takes about 2 weeks once we receive your FAFSA. As a graduate student, you do have to be at least 5 credit hours in order to be eligible for the student loans. If you have any additional questions about your aid, please email us at onlineFinAid@uic.edu, or you can give us a call. Also, our website has a lot of helpful information regarding the process, the payment, any calendar dates that we have that are important, such as disbursement of your aid. Next slide. So these are helpful links for you to just look up if you have time. Our financial aid link. You can also look at the graduate college to see if there's any possible scholarships. You can look at paymybill.uillinois.edu regarding payment plans. Our FAFSA what link is there, along with ISAC if you want to apply for any IVG or ING benefits. We do request for your letter of eligibility, and you can obtain your letter by visiting that website.
And thank Bianca wherever she is right now. I think the two important, for me, when I listen to Bianca present, I think the two important things to remember are that the federal loans are only applicable if you're in the master's program. If you're in a certificate program, the certificate is considered a non-degree program, and so you have to seek out those private loans. And then the second thing is the minimum number of credits. All of our courses are 4 credits. And so to get to that 5 credit minimum, you either have to find another course somewhere else that it's just a credit or 2, or you have to be enrolled in the minimum 2 courses from the MESA program.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, there we go. For our upcoming deadlines for the fall semester, both the certificate and for the MEd are August 15th. Classes start on the 22nd. If you happen to miss these deadlines, there's actually a third option. It's called an extramural non-degree student. It's only like a 1 or 2 page application. You can fill it out very quickly. The only potential downside of that is people in the certificate and in the MEd get first dibs on enrolling in classes. And when a class fills up, it's up to each individual faculty member whether they feel comfortable increasing the cap. So if you miss those deadlines and you apply as a non-degree student, you potentially run into the problem of not being able to get into the course or courses that you desire. For the upcoming fall semester, here are the offerings that we have. 503, the intro stat course, there's no prerequisite for that. 509 is the intro research design course, and again, there's no prerequisite for that. If you have an intro stat course from prior education, then you could possibly take the ANOVA course or the regression course. The item response theory course is, again, one of those high-level courses that has a prerequisite of educational measurement. So unless you have that kind of background already, that probably wouldn't be a place to start out with. The large-scale testing course is one of our, like I said, that's the one course that we adjunct out to one of my former doc students who works in the licensure and certification field. This course is only taught on an every other year basis. And if you have 503, then you could probably take this course. She prefers you to have one of the intermediate measurement courses as well, but people have been successful from jumping from 503 to the large scale testing course. And then we have our evaluation 2 course. This is actually the first time it's going to be rolled out under the 565 rubric. We've taught it as a special topics course in the past. We periodically poll our student body to ask them what kind of curriculum changes or updates they would like to see. And a couple of years ago, we used to have one program evaluation course, and the students wanted a complementary course to it, a qualitative data analysis course. So given that the wheels of progress grind very slowly in academia, it took us I think at least 2 years to get that developed and rolled out. So we added the qualitative research course. And then the students also thought that our original program evaluation course, while it was great, it was just an awful lot of content. And so they thought splitting it up into 2 courses would be better for the student experience. And so our program evaluation expert, Dr. Rebecca Tisdale, has spent a lot of time developing the 2 new eval courses, as well as that qualitative course that I mentioned. With that, I'll hand it back over to Curtis, and then we can open up to some Q&A.
All right, thanks, Ev, as well as JP. We appreciate you coming along and answering some questions for us. So at this time, we want to open it up for Q&A. If anyone has any questions, you feel free to come off of mute and ask any question you'd like from myself about the admissions process, Ev about the program, or if you have additional questions for JP about his experience. Or if you like, you could also feel free to chat it in the chat box as well. Either way.
Yeah, I know we've covered quite a bit of information here. So I mean, if things come up after we're done here, if it's something about filling out an application or the process, you can reach out to Curtis's team at that online info@uic.edu. If you have any questions regarding the courses, job sequencing for prospective careers, you can just reach out to me at the email address below. Let's see, Ashley, I have a few questions. What does cost credit look like? Curtis, do you have that? We used to have that in another presentation. While Curtis is looking that up,
yes.
The scholarships, you can go to the College of Education website and look, but I believe most of the scholarships are usually absorbed by the PhD students. If there's an abundance of, or a lack of applications and an abundance of funding, then it would be opened up to the other graduate programs. But most of those opportunities are taken up by the PhD students. And there are multiple different start dates. Yeah, we have a summer start date. We also have a fall and a spring start date. So there's 3 overall. Curtis, were you able to look up the
yes.
credit cost?
Yeah, so the cost per credit hour is $7.93 per credit hour. And then there's also additional $19 per credit hour IT and assessment. So that gives online students access to help with IT as well as our online library at UIC.
Yeah, thanks, Curtis. And we should probably note that fee is regardless of where you are in the world. So, I mean, normal campus tuition is if you're in state, it's one rate, out of state, it's another rate, international, the highest rate. For the online program, it's just one rate, no matter where you are in the world here.
No problem. Any other questions?
Hi, good day. I wanted to find out, do you all have an EDD program in the MESA?
An EDD program?
Yes.
No, we have a PhD program though.
Okay.
I'm not aware of too many EDD programs in MESA related fields. Most of them are that I know are PhD. But again, if you go to that ncme.org website, they usually maintain a PDF of graduate programs in MESA related areas throughout the United States and potentially the rest of the world as well. So you may be able to find an ED program in that listing, but as far as I know, almost all of us are PhD programs.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Salary outcomes look like for MESA grads. Well, perusing the job boards like I do every Sunday to find out what's interesting, I'd say minimum would be 80,000 to start. And then if you go on for a PhD, probably the minimum is a but take some of those keywords from that slide that I presented about job titles and just do a local search and find out where you're coming out. Because it's going to vary. Institutional research will pay different than licensure and certification. I know in the medical licensure and certification, they start in the 6 figures. So it's really going to depend on which field within MESA that you're going to go into. And if you want to stay poor, you go into academia. But do the searches, but it's quite a range. But I would say starting at 70 or 80 would be a base.
One other question, is the PhD program fully online?
No, it's not. There's been talk about putting it online, but a lot of pieces have to fall together with other units because the PhD program is kind of a shared program across the College of Education. So there's a lot of moving pieces in it. We've had talks, but so far it's not offered online.
And do the credits from the, well, I know the ERM is changing to the certificate in the MESA soon. The name is changing. So would those credits be able to go towards the PhD program if you were to, move on to that step after?
Yeah, if you're in the certificate program, again, that's considered non-degree. You can actually transfer those. I can't speak for other universities, but at UIC, you could actually like JP did. You can transfer the certificate credits into the master's program or into the PhD program as well, so long as you get a B or better. I can't see other D1 universities not accepting those as well, but again, they might have their own policies or procedures. But yes, all the non-degree credits can be transferred into the master's and PhD. Is there a thesis requirement for the master's degree? No, currently it's just an all coursework option for the master's degree. So it's 32 credits minimum. All of our classes are 4 credits. So
Someone please put your phone on mute.
Yeah, so it's a minimum of 8 courses. We did roll out this past summer an introduction to R programming, which would be our only non-4 credit course. It was a 2 credit course. We're going to evaluate how that went to see if it can be offered in the future and potentially at either 2 or 4 credits. So that might be another option in the future as well. Is the GRE required or preferred? Preferred, not required anymore.
All right.
No problem with the number of questions. If you have more and they come up later, just feel free to reach out to Curtis or I.
Well, if we don't have any other questions at this time, again, I want to thank everyone for participating today's event. And again, the recording will go out for everyone to review and share with your colleagues. So
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Any last minute questions, folks, before we sign off here? No, I don't want to thank everybody for taking the time. Thank JP for helping us out here. It's good to hear your background and how you got to be one of our MESA folks. So I appreciate it, JP.
Thank you as well.
All right, everyone, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, bye-bye, folks.
All right, thanks.
Take it easy, Curtis.
All right.